Hi, I'm Sue Miller with the Wisconsin Automobile and Truck Dealers Association. Dealers often ask, can a vehicle with an open recall still be sold? To answer that question, it helps to understand two things: who regulates recalls and what disclosure requirements apply in Wisconsin. At the federal level, all motor vehicle recalls are regulated by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, or NHTSA. At the state level, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation, through the Division of Motor Vehicles, regulates the disclosures that must be made to buyers of used vehicles. Let's start with how recalls are determined. Motor vehicle recalls are governed by federal regulations and overseen by NHTSA. Recalls can begin in one of two ways. NHTSA may initiate a recall, typically after receiving consumer complaints, investigation, and analysis. A recall may also be initiated by the vehicle manufacturer. Under federal regulations, NHTSA prohibits the sale of new motor vehicles that have an outstanding recall. Used vehicles are treated differently. In most cases, federal law does not prohibit the sale of used vehicles with open recalls. So let's turn to Wisconsin law and the disclosure requirements for used vehicles. Wisconsin is one of the few states that requires dealers to disclose outstanding recall information before selling certain used vehicles. Under Wisconsin Administrative Code Trans 139.04, Prens 9, franchise dealers who sell a used vehicle of a line make for which they hold a franchise must inform prospective buyers whether that vehicle is subject to any unperformed manufacturer recalls. For example, if you're a Chevy dealer, you must check for recalls on Chevys and perform them where possible. You do not have to check Fords, Buicks, Toyotas, or other makes. So, what steps should a dealer take? First, the dealer must determine whether the vehicle is subject to any unperformed recalls. Second, if the vehicle has recalls, the dealer must either complete those repairs before delivery or agree in writing to perform the repairs at a time convenient for the customer, no later than 20 days after delivery. If parts are unavailable or circumstances beyond the dealer's control prevent the repair within that time frame, the dealership is exempt from this requirement. Third, the dealer must disclose in writing to the purchaser any unperformed manufacturer recalls. Sample disclosure language is included in the PDF that accompanies this video. Finally, there is a special consideration for multi-point dealerships. For purposes of recall responsibility, each dealership location stands alone. If the store offering the vehicle for sale is not franchised for that make, that location does not need to determine whether the vehicle has a recall and does not need to perform the repair. However, one advantage of meeting the DMV's definition of a multi-point dealership group is that used vehicles can be transferred between stores without requiring another inspection. If a vehicle with an unperformed recall is transferred to a dealership location that is franchised for that make, the receiving dealership must determine whether recalls exist and must either perform the repairs or disclose them. In summary, new vehicles with open recalls cannot be sold until the repair has been completed. Used vehicles must be repaired or disclosed if the dealership is franchised for that make. Dealers not franchised for the make of the vehicle they're selling have no repair or disclosure obligations. Understanding these distinctions helps ensure compliance while allowing dealerships to continue operating efficiently. Thank you for watching. If you have questions or ideas for a future short video topic, please feel free to contact me at 608-251-8024 or by email at smiller@watda.org.